Hello, and welcome to Nighttime Science. Tonight we are leaving the familiar world behind. We will journey away from the light of the sun, away from the noise and the warmth of the surface world, and descend into a place of profound quiet and immense stillness. We are traveling to the deep ocean, the largest and least explored habitat on our planet. There is no need to do anything now, except to listen, to find a comfortable position, to allow your breathing to become slow and regular, and to let the gentle weight of relaxation settle upon you. As we begin our descent, imagine the water around you changing. The bright turquoise blue of the sunlit shallows slowly deepens into a rich royal sapphire. The warmth of the sun's rays, which you can feel on your skin in the upper layers, begins to fade, replaced by a steady, pervasive coolness. We are sinking slowly, peacefully through the water column. The sounds of the surface world, the waves, the wind, the cries of seabirds, have all disappeared. They have been replaced by a quiet so complete it feels like a soft blanket. The only sound is the gentle rhythmic beat of your own heart, a slow and steady drum in the vast, silent cathedral of the sea. We are passing through the epipelagic zone, the sunlit zone, which extends down about 200 meters or 650 feet. This is the world of vibrant coral reefs, fast-swimming tuna, and playful dolphins. But our journey takes us deeper. As we cross that 200-meter threshold, we enter a new realm. This is the mesopelagic zone, more commonly known as the twilight zone. It stretches from 200 meters down to about 1,000 meters or 3,300 feet. Here the light is faint, a hazy, dreamlike dusk that never turns to day or night. It is a world of silhouettes and shadows. The brilliant colors of the surface have been muted to shades of blue, gray, and deep violet. The pressure is increasing now. At the surface, we experience one atmosphere of pressure. Here it can be up to 100 times greater. It is a gentle, persistent squeeze, a constant reminder of the immense weight of the water above. The temperature continues to drop, becoming stable and cold, a chilling embrace that dictates the pace of life here. But our journey is not over. We continue to drift downward past the 1,000-meter mark. We are now entering the bathyal zone, the midnight zone. Here the last vestiges of sunlight are gone. Utterly. The darkness is absolute, a profound and complete blackness that is unlike anything on land. If you were to hold your hand in front of your face, you would see nothing at all. This zone continues down to 4,000 meters or about 13,000 feet. The pressure is now immense, hundreds of times greater than at the surface, and the temperature hovers just above freezing. A cold that never wavers year after year, century after century. Below this is the abyssal zone from 4,000 to 6,000 meters or nearly 20,000 feet. This is the abyss, a name derived from the Greek word for no bottom. It is a vast, flat, sediment-covered plain that covers a huge portion of the Earth's surface. The pressure here is staggering and the cold is relentless. It is a world of crushing silence and eternal night. And even deeper still, in the deep ocean trenches lies the Hadal zone, named after Hades, the underworld. Reaching depths of nearly 11,000 meters or 36,000 feet, this is the most extreme and mysterious environment on our planet. The pressure is over 1,000 times that at the surface, equivalent to the weight of 50 jumbo jets stacked on top of a single person. In these profound depths, it is easy to imagine a world devoid of life, a sterile void. But that is not the case. Life is here. It is strange, beautiful, and perfectly adapted to this world of extremes. The science of this life is a science of stillness, of patience, of ingenious solutions to profound challenges. Tonight we will explore the sleepy facts of this hidden world, learning about the creatures who call this quiet, dark, and deep place their home. Allow your mind to drift, to float in this deep, dark water, as we uncover the secrets of life in the abyss. Section 1. The Crushing Silence, Life Under Pressure. Let us begin our exploration by considering the most defining characteristic of the deep ocean: the immense, unrelenting pressure. It is a force that shapes everything, from the bodies of the smallest microbes to the very chemistry of life itself. At the surface of the ocean, the air above us exerts a certain amount of pressure, which we call 1 atmosphere. It is the baseline to which our bodies and the bodies of all terrestrial and shallow water life are accustomed. But water is much denser than air. For every 10 meters, or about 33 feet, that we descend into the ocean, the pressure increases by 1 full atmosphere. As we sink into the bathyal zone at a depth of 2,000 meters, the pressure is 200 times what it is at the surface. In the hadal zone at 10,000 meters, it is 1,000 times greater. This is not a trivial force. It is a physical reality that would be instantly lethal to most surface-dwelling organisms. The gas-filled spaces in our bodies, like our lungs and sinuses, would collapse. The very molecules that make up our cells would be squeezed, distorted, and rendered non-functional. So how does life exist here? The answer lies in a series of beautiful and subtle adaptations, a reimagining of what a body can be. The first and most fundamental adaptation is the composition of the bodies themselves. The creatures of the deep sea are made of water. Their tissues have a consistency and density very similar to the water that surrounds them. Because they are mostly incompressible liquid, the external pressure is perfectly balanced by the internal pressure of their own bodies. They do not feel the squeeze in the way a gas-filled object would. The pressure inside them is the same as the pressure outside, creating a state of equilibrium. They are one with their environment. This is why many deep-sea creatures have soft, gelatinous bodies. Think of a deep-sea jellyfish or a siphonophore. They are often more than 95% water. They have no need for rigid, supportive skeletons like our own, because the water itself provides the support they need. Their forms are fluid, ethereal, perfectly suited to a world where a hard, unyielding structure would be a liability. A key challenge of high pressure is its effect on the delicate machinery of life: proteins. Proteins are long chains of amino acids that must fold into very specific, complex, three-dimensional shapes to function. They are the enzymes that catalyze chemical reactions, the structural components that give cells their shape, and the messengers that carry signals. High pressure tends to force water molecules into the small cavities and crevices of these folded proteins, disrupting their shape and causing them to unfold, or denature. An unfolded protein is useless. To counteract this, deep-sea organisms have evolved a remarkable biochemical defense. Their cells contain high concentrations of small organic molecules called piezolites, a word that means pressure solutes. The most famous of these is trimethylamine N-oxide, or TMAO. You may know TMAO as the compound that gives saltwater fish their characteristic fishy smell as it breaks down after death. But in living deep-sea fish, it serves a vital purpose. TMAO is exceptionally good at organizing water molecules around itself. By doing so, it effectively pushes water away from the proteins, stabilizing their structure and preventing them from being forced apart by the immense pressure. The deeper a fish lives, the more TMAO its cells contain. It is a molecular armor against the crushing weight of the ocean. Another crucial adaptation concerns the cell membranes. The membrane that encloses every cell needs to be fluid, allowing molecules to pass in and out. High pressure tends to compress these membranes, making them stiff and waxy, almost like hardened butter. To maintain fluidity, the cell membranes of deep-sea creatures contain a higher proportion of unsaturated fatty acids. These fatty acids have kinks and bends in their molecular tails, which prevents them from packing together too tightly. This keeps the membranes loose and flexible, ensuring that the essential business of the cell can continue even under thousands of pounds of pressure per square inch. Perhaps the most obvious adaptation to pressure involves the absence of gas-filled organs. Most fish in the sunlit zone have a swim bladder, an internal sac of gas that they use to control their buoyancy, allowing them to rise and sink with minimal effort. In the deep sea, such an organ would be a fatal vulnerability. The immense pressure would cause it to collapse instantly. Consequently, the vast majority of deep-sea fish simply do not have one. They are naturally neutrally or slightly negatively buoyant. They hang suspended in the water column or rest on the seafloor, foregoing the energy-saving device of their shallow water relatives in favor of a body plan that is resilient to pressure. Let's consider a specific example: the Mariana snailfish, Pseudoliparus swire. This small, translucent tadpole-like fish holds the record for the deepest living fish ever observed, thriving at depths of over 8,000 meters in the Mariana Trench. Its body is a masterpiece of deep-sea engineering. It has no scales. Its skeleton is not made of hard, calcified bone, but rather of flexible cartilage, which can bend without breaking under the strain. Its skull is incomplete, with gaps that prevent it from being crushed. Its entire being is soft and yielding. By studying its genetics, scientists have found that genes related to hardening bone have been deactivated, while genes that help produce piezolites like TMAO are highly active. The snailfish does not fight the pressure. It yields to it, incorporating the force of its environment into the very fabric of its existence. It is a quiet testament to the power of adaptation, a soft-bodied survivor in the most crushing place on Earth. This world of high pressure dictates a certain pace of life. It is a slow, deliberate world. The effects of pressure, combined with the extreme cold, slow down the rate of all chemical reactions, including the metabolic processes within living cells. Life here unfolds in slow motion. Creatures move with a gentle, unhurried grace. They grow slowly over decades or even centuries. This slowness is not a sign of lethargy, but a finely tuned strategy for survival in an environment that is as physically demanding as it is unforgiving. The crushing silence of the deep is not empty. It is filled with a form of life that has learned to thrive not by resisting the immense forces around it, but by embracing them completely. Section 2. The realm of perpetual night, bioluminescence. As we continue our journey deeper, we leave behind the last photons of sunlight. In the bathyal zone and below, the darkness is a physical presence. It is a constant, unchanging state of being. This is a world without sunrise or sunset, without seasons of light and dark. It is a realm of perpetual night, and yet it is not entirely without light. For in this profound blackness, life has learned to create its own. This phenomenon, known as bioluminescence, is one of the most beautiful and widespread features of the deep ocean. It is the language of light in a world of darkness. Bioluminescence is, in essence, a chemical reaction that produces light. It is a form of chemiluminescence. The primary ingredients are a light-emitting molecule called luciferin and an enzyme called luciferase. When luciferin reacts with oxygen catalyzed by luciferase, it releases energy in the form of a photon, a particle of cold light. It is an incredibly efficient process, with nearly all the energy from the reaction being converted into light, with very little lost as heat. This is why it is often called cold light. On land, this ability is relatively rare, seen in fireflies, some fungi, and a few other scattered organisms. But in the deep sea, it is the rule, not the exception. It is estimated that up to 90% of the organisms living in the mid-water column have the ability to produce light in some form. The functions of this living light are as varied and complex as the creatures that create it. The simplest use is as a tool for finding food. The most famous example, of course, is the anglerfish. The female anglerfish, a creature of the midnight zone, has a long, modified dorsal fin spine that extends out over her head. At the tip of this spine is a fleshy bulb called an esca, which is filled with symbiotic, light-producing bacteria. She dangles this glowing lure in the darkness, wiggling it gently to mimic the movements of a small shrimp or squid. In the vast, food-scarce blackness, this small point of light is an irresistible attraction for smaller creatures. When an unsuspecting fish or crustacean comes to investigate, the anglerfish's enormous mouth, lined with long, sharp, inward-pointing teeth, opens with lightning speed, and the meal is engulfed. Bioluminescence is also a crucial tool for defense. Many deep-sea shrimp, when threatened, will spew a cloud of glowing fluid into the face of a predator, in much the same way a squid releases a cloud of ink. This sudden, bright flash can startle and disorient the attacker, allowing the shrimp to make a swift escape into the darkness. This is a luminous smokescreen. Another defensive strategy is known as the burglar alarm. A small creature, when caught by a predator, may emit a bright, frantic flash of light. This flash doesn't help the creature escape the immediate predator, but it is designed to attract the attention of an even larger predator. The light acts as an alarm, screaming, "Help! I'm being eaten over here," into the darkness. The hope is that a bigger fish will be drawn in by the commotion and will attack the original predator, inadvertently allowing the smaller prey to be released in the ensuing struggle. Perhaps the most sophisticated use of bioluminescence for defense is counter-illumination. Many creatures living in the twilight zone, where a tiny amount of sunlight still filters down from above, are vulnerable to predators looking up from below. Their dark bodies would be silhouetted against the faint light of the surface. To combat this, animals like the lanternfish and certain species of squid have rows of light-producing organs called photophores arranged on their bellies. They can control the intensity and color of the light produced by these photophores to perfectly match the dim blue light filtering down from above. By doing so, they effectively erase their own silhouette, becoming invisible to any predator lurking in the depths beneath them. It is a biological cloaking device, a stunning example of evolutionary precision. Light is also the language of communication. In the immense three-dimensional space of the deep ocean, finding a mate is a monumental challenge. Many species have unique patterns of photophores on their bodies, like constellations on a tiny swimming galaxy. These patterns are species-specific and can even be different between males and females. A lanternfish can recognize another lanternfish in the dark by the specific arrangement of its lights. They can flash these lights in specific sequences, creating silent coded messages to signal their presence and their readiness to mate. The stoplight loosejaw, a fearsome-looking deep-sea dragonfish, has evolved a particularly clever form of bioluminescent communication that also doubles as a hunting tool. Most bioluminescence in the ocean is blue or green because these wavelengths of light travel farthest through water. Consequently, most deep-sea creatures have evolved eyes that are most sensitive to blue and green light, and they are completely unable to see red light. The stoplight loosejaw exploits this. It has a special photophore under its eye that produces red light. It uses this red light like a sniper's scope. It can illuminate its prey with a beam of red light, seeing it perfectly while the prey remains completely unaware, swimming in what it perceives as total darkness. The loosejaw also has a second, more conventional blue-green photophore that it likely uses for communication with other loosejaws. The visual spectacle of this living light can be breathtaking. The comb jelly or ctenophore is not a true jellyfish, but a gelatinous animal that moves by beating rows of cilia which look like tiny combs. As these cilia beat, they scatter light, creating shimmering, iridescent rainbows that pulse down the length of the creature's body. Some species can also produce their own light, resulting in a creature that appears to be a living, swimming light show of extraordinary beauty. The deep-sea octopus Staroteuthis cirtensis has suckers that have been modified into photophores. When it wishes, it can make the suckers along its arms glow with a gentle, eerie blue-green light, perhaps to lure in the small crustaceans on which it feeds. The creation and perception of this light has driven the evolution of deep-sea eyes. Since the only light to be seen is the faint, often fleeting light of bioluminescence, many deep-sea fish have evolved enormous, highly sensitive eyes. The barrel-eye fish Macropinna microstoma has one of the most unusual visual systems imaginable. It has a completely transparent, fluid-filled dome for a head. Inside this dome, you can clearly see its internal barrel-shaped tubular eyes. These eyes are pointed straight up, allowing the fish to spot the silhouettes of prey against the faint light from above. What is truly remarkable is that it can also rotate these eyes forward to see what it is eating. Its entire head is a clear cockpit, providing an uninterrupted field of view for its ultra-sensitive eyes. In the realm of perpetual night, light is a currency. It is a tool, a weapon, a language, and a shield. It is created and consumed in the silent darkness, a constant flickering dialogue between predator and prey, mate and rival. It paints the abyss with fleeting moments of brilliance, ephemeral sparks in the endless dark, a quiet and beautiful testament to the power of life to illuminate even the most profound blackness. Section 3. The slow dance of metabolism, energy conservation in the cold. In the deep ocean, beyond the reach of the sun's warmth, the water temperature is remarkably stable. It hovers at a near-freezing chill, typically between 0 and 4 degrees Celsius, or 32 to 39 degrees Fahrenheit. This profound and constant cold, combined with the scarcity of food, has shaped a distinct rhythm of life, a slow dance of metabolism that prioritizes endurance and efficiency above all else. Life in the deep is not about speed or frantic activity. It is about the quiet, patient art of conservation. Metabolism is the sum of all the chemical reactions that sustain life. It is the process of converting food into energy. For warm-blooded animals on the surface, a significant amount of energy is expended simply maintaining a constant internal body temperature. But the creatures of the deep sea are cold-blooded, or poikilothermic. Their internal body temperature is the same as the cold water surrounding them. This immediately eliminates a huge metabolic cost. However, the cold itself has a direct effect on biochemical reactions. Lower temperatures cause all chemical processes to slow down. As a result, deep-sea organisms inherently have a much lower metabolic rate than their shallow water counterparts. This slow metabolism is not a disadvantage. It is a critical adaptation for survival. In an environment where a proper meal might be a rare event, happening weeks or even months apart, burning energy quickly would be a fatal mistake. The entire biology of these creatures is geared towards minimizing energy expenditure. Their movements are slow, deliberate, and efficient. There is no frantic chasing of prey, no wasted motion. Instead, we see a predominance of the sit and wait or ambush predatory strategy. A perfect example of this is the tripod fish, Bathypteroi grallator. This remarkable creature spends most of its life resting on the soft, muddy bottom of the abyssal plain. It stands on 3 elongated, stilt-like fins, 2 pelvic fins and 1 caudal fin, that lift its body out of the sediment and into the current. It faces into the gentle flow of water, its long pectoral fins pointing forward like sensitive antennae. It remains perfectly still for hours, perhaps even days on end, conserving every ounce of energy. It waits patiently for a small shrimp or crustacean to drift by and bump into its fins. The moment it senses contact, its mouth opens and the meal is consumed with minimal effort. The tripod fish has engineered a life of profound stillness, turning the seafloor into its own patient hunting ground. This low-energy lifestyle also contributes to another striking feature of deep-sea life: incredible longevity. When metabolic processes are slowed down, the processes of aging also appear to slow. The wear and tear on cells and tissues accumulates at a much more gradual pace. This leads to lifespans that can seem extraordinary to us. The Greenland shark, Somniosus microcephalus, is a resident of the deep, cold waters of the North Atlantic. It is a creature of immense size and incredible slowness. It swims at a languid pace of about 1 kilometer per hour. For a long time, its life history was a mystery. But by using radiocarbon dating on the proteins within the shark's eye lenses, scientists made a stunning discovery. They found that the Greenland shark is the longest living vertebrate on Earth. The oldest shark they studied was estimated to be at least 272 years old and possibly as old as 512 years. These sharks are born and spend centuries swimming slowly through the cold darkness, a living testament to the connection between a slow metabolism and a long life. They do not reach sexual maturity until they are over 150 years old. Their entire life is lived on a timescale that is difficult for us to comprehend. Another example is the orange roughy, a deep-sea fish that became a popular food source in the late 20th century. What was not known at the time was the extreme slowness of its life cycle. The orange roughy can live to be over 150 years old, and it does not begin to reproduce until it is around 30. Its slow growth and late maturity, adaptations to a stable, low-energy environment, made it extremely vulnerable to overfishing, as populations could not recover quickly from harvesting. The principle of energy conservation may also offer an explanation for a curious phenomenon known as deep-sea gigantism. While many deep-sea creatures are small, certain groups of animals tend to grow to much larger sizes in the abyss than their shallow water relatives. We see this in the giant isopod Bathynomus giganteus, a scavenger that looks like a colossal woodlouse and can grow up to 50 centimeters or 20 inches in length. We see it in the giant squid, Architeuthis ducks, and the colossal squid, Messonychoteuthis hamiltoni, with eyes the size of dinner plates and bodies that can reach lengths of over 13 meters, or 40 feet. The exact reasons for deep-sea gigantism are still debated, but a leading hypothesis relates it directly to the cold temperatures and slow metabolism. In the near-freezing water, creatures grow very slowly, but they also mature late and live for a very long time. This gives them a much longer period over which to grow. So their large size may simply be a result of slow, indeterminate growth over an exceptionally long lifespan. A larger body size can also be more efficient in terms of metabolism. Larger animals often have a lower metabolic rate per unit of body mass. A bigger body can also store more energy reserves like lipids and fats, which is a significant advantage when meals are few and far between. The physical makeup of deep-sea fish reflects this low-energy existence. Their muscle tissue is often watery and flabby compared to the powerful, dense muscle of an active surface swimmer like a tuna. Their bones are less dense, and their overall activity levels are low. They are built for endurance, not for speed. The vampire squid, Vampiroteuthis infernalis, is a perfect example. Despite its formidable name, it is a slow, passive creature. It has the lowest metabolic rate of any cephalopod relative to its size. It doesn't actively hunt, but instead drifts through the water, extending two long, sticky filaments to catch particles of marine snow, the organic debris that rains down from above. Its entire existence is a masterclass in energy minimalism. The slow dance of metabolism in the deep ocean is a fundamental principle that connects the cold, the dark, the pressure, and the scarcity of food. It dictates a life of patience, of stillness, and of remarkable longevity. The creatures here are not sluggish or lazy. They are supremely efficient. They have mastered the art of waiting, of conserving, of making the most of every precious calorie. Their quiet, slow-moving existence is a profound adaptation to one of the most challenging environments on Earth, a gentle rhythm that has played out in the dark for millions of years. Section 4. A feast in the dark, finding food in scarcity. In the sunlit upper ocean, the food web is driven by photosynthesis. Microscopic plants called phytoplankton harness the energy of the sun to create organic matter, forming the foundation of a rich and bustling ecosystem. But in the perpetual darkness of the deep sea, there is no photosynthesis. The primary source of energy does not come from within the deep sea itself, but rather it drifts down from the world of light far above. This constant, gentle shower of organic material is known as marine snow. Imagine a slow, unending snowfall in the dark. But instead of ice crystals, the flakes are composed of a mix of dead phytoplankton and zooplankton, fecal pellets, shed exoskeletons of crustaceans, and other miscellaneous organic debris. As these particles sink, they are colonized by bacteria and fungi, which begin the process of decomposition. They also tend to clump together, held by a sticky mucus, forming larger aggregates that can be several centimeters across. This marine snow is the lifeblood of the deep ocean, the crucial link between the productive surface waters and the food-starved abyss. The journey of a marine snow particle is a slow one. It can take weeks or even months for it to complete its descent to the abyssal plain. Along the way, it provides sustenance for a host of filter feeders and detritivores, creatures that specialize in consuming this drifting bounty. The vampire squid, which we mentioned earlier, uses its long, sticky filaments to ensnare particles of marine snow. Many deep-sea jellyfish, siphonophores, and crustaceans have adapted to capture these nutrient-rich flakes as they fall. On the seafloor, this marine snow accumulates as a fine layer of ooze, a nutrient-rich mud that blankets the abyssal plains. This sediment becomes the primary food source for a group of animals known as deposit feeders. The most common of these are the sea cucumbers, or holothurians. These slow-moving, sausage-shaped relatives of starfish and sea urchins crawl methodically across the seafloor, ingesting vast quantities of mud. Their digestive systems extract the organic nutrients from the sediment, and they excrete the processed, cleaned mud behind them. They are the great recyclers of the abyss, tirelessly tilling the ocean floor, ensuring that no potential energy goes to waste. While marine snow forms the baseline of the food web, it is a low-energy, diffuse source of nutrition. For a predator, a much more valuable prize is a larger meal, another animal. But in the vast, sparsely populated expanse of the deep sea, such meals are few and far between. This has led to the evolution of some truly remarkable adaptations for catching and consuming infrequent but substantial prey. A common strategy is to have an enormous mouth in proportion to your body. The gulper eel, or pelican eel, is a perfect example. Its most striking feature is its gigantic pouch-like mouth, which is much larger than its body. When it encounters prey like a fish or a large crustacean, its mouth can inflate like a balloon, allowing it to swallow an animal much larger than itself. Its body is little more than a long, whip-like tail attached to this cavernous mouth and a highly distensible stomach that can stretch to accommodate its oversized meal. Similarly, the fang-toothed fish has the largest teeth of any fish in the ocean, relative to its body size. Its teeth are so long that it cannot fully close its mouth. It has special sockets in its upper jaw, into which the lower fangs slide when its mouth is shut, to avoid impaling its own brain. The viperfish has similar needle-like fangs that are so long they curve back up outside its head. These formidable teeth are not for chewing, They are for ensuring that once a rare meal is caught, there is absolutely no chance of it escaping. These predators are not active hunters. They are, for the most part, ambush predators. They hang motionless in the water column, conserving energy, waiting for something to blunder into them. Their bodies are often minimalist, small, with reduced skeletons and minimal muscle mass. All of their evolutionary investment has gone into the business end, the mouth, the teeth, and the stomach, the tools needed to make the most of a lucky encounter. Not all energy in the deep sea comes from above. In certain special locations, life is fueled by the Earth itself. In the 1970s, scientists exploring the deep ocean floor made one of the most profound biological discoveries of the 20th century: hydrothermal vents. These are fissures in the seabed, often along mid-ocean ridges where geothermally heated water erupts. This water, which can reach temperatures of over 400 degrees Celsius, is rich in dissolved minerals and chemicals from the Earth's crust, particularly hydrogen sulfide. In the total darkness surrounding these vents, scientists found teeming, dense communities of life, an oasis of abundance in the deep-sea desert. The foundation of this ecosystem is not photosynthesis, but chemosynthesis. Specialized bacteria and archaea have evolved the ability to harness the chemical energy in the hydrogen sulfide, using it to create organic matter in much the same way plants use sunlight. These chemosynthetic microbes form the base of a unique and vibrant food web. The most iconic inhabitants of these vents are the giant tube worms, Riftia pachyptila. These worms can grow to be over 2 meters tall. They have no mouth, no gut, and no anus. They live inside a tough white chitinous tube for protection. At the top, a brilliant red plume extends into the water. This plume is not for breathing oxygen in the way we might think. It is a specialized organ for absorbing hydrogen sulfide, oxygen, and carbon dioxide from the water. The worm's blood transports these chemicals to a massive internal organ called the trophosome, which is packed with symbiotic chemosynthetic bacteria. The bacteria do all the work, converting the chemicals into sugars that nourish the worm. The tube worm is essentially a farmer, housing and protecting the bacteria that in turn provide it with all the food it needs. Around the tube worms, we find dense beds of vent mussels and clams, which also harbor chemosynthetic bacteria in their gills. White, blind crabs scuttle over the rocks, preying on the smaller organisms, and strange fish like the eel-like zorsids swim among the shimmering, superheated water. A similar, though slower-paced, phenomenon occurs at cold seeps, areas where methane and hydrogen sulfide seep out from the ocean floor at normal ambient temperatures. Here, too, chemosynthetic bacteria form the foundation for communities of tube worms, clams, and other specialized life forms. Finally, there is the concept of a whale fall. When a great whale dies in the open ocean, its massive carcass, rich in organic matter, sinks to the bottom. This sudden, enormous delivery of food creates a unique, temporary ecosystem on the abyssal plain. The process of its decomposition occurs in distinct stages lasting for decades. First, mobile scavengers arrive: hagfish, sleeper sharks, giant isopods, which strip the flesh from the bones over a period of months to years. Then a stage of enrichment opportunists takes over as worms and small crustaceans colonize the surrounding sediment, feeding on the remaining soft tissue. Finally, a sulfophilic stage begins as the bones, rich in lipids, start to break down and release sulfides, creating a habitat for chemosynthetic bacteria. This allows a vent-like community to establish itself, with bone-eating Osedax worms, clams, and snails that can persist for up to a century. A single whale fall can be a source of life and energy for generations of deep-sea creatures, a monumental feast in the dark. The story of food in the deep sea is a story of patience, opportunism, and remarkable chemical ingenuity. It is a world built on what falls from above, what rises from below, and the rare, unpredictable windfalls that punctuate the long, quiet darkness. Section 5. Senses in the abyss, navigating a world without sight. In a world of perpetual absolute blackness, the sense of sight, so dominant in our own experience, becomes fundamentally altered. For the creatures of the deep sea navigating their three-dimensional world, finding food, avoiding predators, and locating mates requires a different sensory toolkit. Evolution has pushed their senses to extraordinary extremes, heightening some to incredible sensitivity while diminishing others to the point of irrelevance. Let's first consider the eyes. One might assume that in total darkness, eyes would be useless and would disappear entirely. Indeed, many species that live in constant contact with the seafloor, like certain species of tripod fish and sea cucumbers, are completely blind. They have lost their eyes over evolutionary time, as there was no advantage to maintaining such energetically expensive organs. However, many midwater creatures have not abandoned sight. Instead, they have developed enormous, highly specialized eyes designed to capture the faintest possible glimmer of light. The only light available in the deep is the fleeting, point-like source of bioluminescence. To detect these faint sparks, many deep-sea fish have evolved tubular eyes. These eyes are shaped like barrels with a huge lens at the front and a large retina at the back. This structure is exceptionally good at collecting light from a single direction, usually from above, where the silhouettes of potential prey might be visible against the even fainter downwelling light in the twilight zone. The anglerfish and the viperfish possess these large, sensitive eyes. The trade-off for this high sensitivity is a very narrow field of view. These fish are essentially looking up at the world through two long tubes. As we discussed earlier, the barrellet fish has solved this problem with its remarkable rotating eyes inside its transparent head, giving it a versatility of vision that is rare in the deep. The retinas of these eyes are also different. They are packed with light-sensitive rod cells, but often have few or no cone cells, which are responsible for color vision. In a world illuminated primarily by monochromatic blue light, the ability to see a wide spectrum of color is largely unnecessary. Their world is one of light and shadow, not of hue and saturation. With sight being so limited, other senses have become paramount. One of the most important for deep-sea fish is mechanoreception, the ability to sense movement, vibration, and pressure changes in the water. This is accomplished primarily through the lateral line system. The lateral line is a series of small, recessed pores and canals that run along the sides of a fish's body and over its head. Inside these canals are tiny, hair-like cells that are sensitive to the slightest displacement of water. This system functions as a kind of remote touch. A fish can feel the pressure wave of another animal swimming nearby, even in complete darkness. It can detect the subtle vibrations made by a struggling shrimp or the vortex of water left by a passing predator. For a sit-and-wait predator like the tripod fish, its elongated fins are covered in mechanoreceptors acting as an extension of its lateral line. The moment a small crustacean drifting in the current bumps into one of these fins, the tripod fish is alerted to its presence. This sense allows creatures to build a detailed, three-dimensional feel of their immediate surroundings, a world of flows, eddies, and vibrations that is as rich in information as a visual landscape. Chemoreception, the senses of smell and taste, is also highly developed. In the vast, dark water, chemical trails can be a vital way to find food or a mate. Water is an excellent medium for carrying dissolved chemicals, and in the slow, stable currents of the deep sea, a scent trail can remain coherent for long distances. Scavengers like the hagfish rely heavily on their sense of smell. Hagfish are primitive eel-like creatures that are famous for producing copious amounts of slime as a defense mechanism. They are often among the first to arrive at a whale fall or other carcass on the seafloor. They have highly sensitive barbels around their mouths and a keen sense of smell that allows them to home in on the scent of decaying flesh from far away. The male anglerfish provides a dramatic example of the power of chemoreception. In many species, the male is tiny, a mere fraction of the size of the female. His sole purpose in life is to find a female. He is not equipped for hunting. Instead, he has a massive, highly developed olfactory organ that takes up a large portion of his head. He spends his life swimming through the darkness, sniffing the water for the specific pheromones released by a female of his species. When he finally detects her scent trail, he follows it until he finds her, at which point he bites into her side and begins the process of sexual parasitism. His entire existence is guided by a single all-important smell. Some deep-sea creatures may even possess a sense that seems alien to us. Electroreception. This is the ability to detect the weak electrical fields generated by the muscle contractions of other living animals. Sharks and rays are well known for this sense, which they use in the shallower ocean. They have specialized organs called the ampullae of Lorenzini, small, jelly-filled pores concentrated on their snouts. It is believed that deep-sea sharks, like the Greenland shark and the goblin shark, also use this sense to locate prey buried in the soft sediment of the seafloor, or to detect the faint bioelectric fields of fish swimming nearby in the dark. In a world without light, being able to detect the silent, invisible electrical signature of life is a powerful advantage. Sound also travels very well in water, much better than it does in air. However, the deep sea is generally a very quiet place. While many marine mammals use sound to communicate and navigate, it is less clear how widely sound is used as a primary sense by deep-sea fish and invertebrates. Some fish are known to make sounds by vibrating their swim bladders, but since many deep-sea fish lack this organ, their ability to produce sound is limited. Still, the ability to hear, to detect the low-frequency vibrations of a large approaching predator, for example, would certainly be a valuable survival tool. The sensory world of a deep-sea creature is a complex and fascinating place. It is a world where a touch can be felt from meters away, where a scent can be a lifeline, where the faintest spark of blue light can mean the difference between eating and being eaten, and where the silent electrical hum of a nearby creature can betray its presence. These animals have adapted to the darkness not by being deprived, but by developing an alternative, and in some ways richer sensory experience of their quiet, dark, and beautiful world. Section 6. The gentle giants and gelatinous drifters. The deep ocean is home to a menagerie of creatures so strange and wonderful they can seem like products of imagination. Let us now drift gently among some of these inhabitants, taking a closer look at the quiet lives of the cephalopods, the gelatinous drifters, and the armored scavengers that populate this hidden realm. Their forms and functions are a quiet poem of adaptation. We begin with the cephalopods, a group of mollusks that include squid, octopuses, and cuttlefish. In the deep sea, this group has evolved into some truly ethereal forms. While the giant squid, Architeuthis, often captures the headlines with its immense size and legendary battles with sperm whales, its cousins in the deep are just as fascinating. Consider the vampire squid, Vampiroteuthis infernalis. Its name translates to the vampire squid from hell, a dramatic title for a creature that is actually a gentle, passive detritivore. It lives in the oxygen minimum zone, a layer of water between 600 and 900 meters deep where oxygen levels are extremely low, an environment inhospitable to many other animals. The vampire squid is a living fossil, the last surviving member of its own biological order. It has dark, velvety, cloak-like webbing that connects its 8 arms, and large, beautiful blue or red eyes. It is covered in photophores, which it can turn on and off at will, creating complex, scintillating patterns. When threatened, it doesn't flee. Instead, it pulls its webbed arms up and over its body, turning itself inside out into a spiny, defensive ball that hides its head and mantle. This is called the pineapple posture. It can also eject sticky bioluminescent mucus from its arm tips to distract a predator. As we learned, it feeds not on blood, but by extending 2 long, retractable filaments that it uses to collect marine snow. It is a creature of quiet beauty and gentle habits despite its fearsome name. Even more mysterious is the big-finned squid of the genus Magnapinna. This squid is known mostly from fleeting glimpses captured by remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, at depths of thousands of meters. Its appearance is otherworldly. It has a relatively small body with very large fins that give it a ghostly, hovering appearance. But its most striking feature is its arms and tentacles. They are indistinguishable from one another and are incredibly long and slender, dangling down for as much as 8 meters or 26 feet. At the base of these appendages, there is a sharp, elbow-like bend. The squid holds its arms out from its body and then lets the long filaments hang straight down to the seafloor. Scientists speculate that it may use these sticky, string-like limbs to passively trawl the bottom for food, snagging small crustaceans that bump into them. Its slow, graceful movements and haunting alien form make it one of the great enigmas of the deep. Then there is the glass octopus, Vitreledonella richardi. As its name suggests, this cephalopod is almost completely transparent. It lives in the twilight and midnight zones, and its transparency is a form of camouflage, making it incredibly difficult to spot in the dim, dark water. Its internal organs, optic nerves, and digestive gland are the only opaque parts of its body. To further minimize its silhouette, it has evolved its digestive gland into a vertical, cigar-like shape, and it holds its body in a posture that keeps this one visible organ as small a target as possible for predators looking up from below. Its gelatinous, nearly invisible body drifts silently through the water, a ghost in the deep sea. Beyond the cephalopods, much of the life in the mid-water column is gelatinous. These are the drifters, the creatures made almost entirely of water, who have perfected the art of buoyant, low-energy existence. The siphonophores are a perfect example. A siphonophore, like the famous Portuguese man-o'-war, is not a single animal. It is a colonial organism made up of thousands of individual specialized zooids that are all genetically identical clones. Some zooids are specialized for flotation, forming a gas-filled float or swimming bells. Others are specialized for feeding with long, stinging tentacles. Still others are specialized for reproduction. They are all attached to a central stem functioning as a single, coordinated superorganism. The giant siphonophore Praia dubia can reach lengths of over 40 meters or 130 feet, making it one of the longest animals in the world. It drifts through the darkness like a vast bioluminescent fishing net, its stinging tentacles capturing any small creature that blunders into them. The ctenophores, or comb jellies, are another group of beautiful gelatinous drifters. We have already mentioned their shimmering rows of cilia that produce those lovely rainbow-like effects. They are voracious predators of small zooplankton. Many of them hunt with long, sticky tentacles, while others of the genus Burrow have no tentacles at all and instead hunt by engulfing other comb jellies with their massive mouths. They are delicate, beautiful, and a vital part of the deep-sea ecosystem. Finally, on the seafloor, we find the armored scavengers built for a different kind of existence. The giant isopod Bathynomus giganteus is a crustacean, a relative of the common woodlouse or pill bug found in gardens. But in the deep sea, it grows to an enormous size. It is a bottom-dwelling scavenger with a thick, segmented, calcified exoskeleton that protects it from predators and the pressure. It has large, reflective, compound eyes and 2 sets of antennae to help it navigate and find food in the dark. Giant isopods are masters of energy conservation. When they find a large food source like a whale fall, they will gorge themselves, eating so much that they can become almost unable to move. They store this energy and can then survive for an astonishingly long time without another meal. One giant isopod in captivity in Japan went for over 5 years without eating before it died. They spend most of their time in a state of semi-hibernation, moving slowly across the mud, their metabolism dialed down to the lowest possible setting, patiently waiting for the next feast to rain down from above. From the ethereal, transparent form of the glass octopus to the armored patience of the giant isopod, the creatures of the deep have found countless ways to thrive. They are a quiet, slow-moving parade of life's ingenuity, each one a unique solution to the challenges of living in the largest, darkest, and most mysterious habitat on our planet. Section 7. The seafloor, hydrothermal vents and the abyssal plain. Our journey now takes us to the very bottom of the deep ocean, the seafloor itself. This vast landscape is not uniform. It is a world of immense flat plains, towering underwater mountains, and deep, dramatic canyons. For tonight, we will rest our attention on 2 of its most contrasting environments: the seemingly empty expanse of the abyssal plain and the vibrant, unexpected oases of life known as hydrothermal vents. Let us first settle onto the abyssal plain. This environment covers more than 50% of the Earth's surface, yet it is less explored than the surface of the Moon. It is a vast, profoundly flat and dark landscape, blanketed in a thick layer of fine, soft sediment, the accumulated marine snow that has drifted down over millennia. At first glance, it appears desolate, a silent, muddy desert under kilometers of water. The pressure is crushing, the temperature is near freezing, and there is no light. But if we wait and watch patiently, we will see that it is not devoid of life. The life here is just slow, sparse, and methodical. The most abundant large animals are the echinoderms, relatives of starfish and sea urchins. In particular, the sea cucumbers or holothurians are the dominant life form. These creatures, which we've mentioned before, inch their way across the sediment, methodically processing the mud for its organic content. Some species are smooth and sausage-like, while others have strange webbed appendages or are almost transparent. One remarkable deep-sea cucumber, Inhypniastes eximia, also known as the headless chicken monster, is capable of swimming. It can launch itself off the seafloor, flapping its modified veils to swim through the water for short periods before settling back down. Here and there, we see the tracks of other creatures in the ooze. A brittle star with its long, spiny arms pulls itself across the mud. A small, blind fish probes the sediment with its sensitive barbels. The tripod fish stands silently on its stilt-like fins, waiting. Life on the abyssal plain is a life of patience and economy. The density of life is low because the food supply, the marine snow, is so diffuse. Every organism here is a master of finding and utilizing scarce resources, of making a living in what appears to be an empty world. Now let us travel from this place of sparse quiet to a place of shocking, vibrant abundance. We are moving towards a mid-ocean ridge, a place where the Earth's tectonic plates are pulling apart and new crust is being formed. Here, the seafloor is geologically active. Seawater percolates down through cracks in the crust where it is heated by magma and becomes saturated with minerals. This superheated, mineral-rich water then erupts back into the ocean through fissures in the seafloor. These are the hydrothermal vents. As this hot, chemical-laden fluid meets the near-freezing, oxygen-rich seawater, the dissolved minerals precipitate out, forming solid structures. These structures can grow into towering chimney-like formations known as black smokers or white smokers. Black smokers, the hottest of the vents, belch out water rich in iron and sulfur compounds which precipitate to form a dark plume of tiny mineral particles that looks like thick black smoke. White smokers are cooler and release water rich in barium, calcium, and silicon, creating a lighter-colored plume. Around these chimneys, in the absolute darkness of the abyss, we find an ecosystem as dense and vibrant as a tropical rainforest. This is the world of chemosynthesis. As we've learned, specialized microbes here use the chemical energy from the hydrogen sulfide in the vent fluid to create food. These microbes are the primary producers, the foundation of the entire vent community. The visual landscape is breathtaking. The tall chimneys are covered in a dense congregation of giant tube worms, Riftia. Their white chitinous tubes, sometimes meters long, are clustered together like trees in a strange, pale forest. From the top of each tube, a brilliant red plume rich with hemoglobin unfurls into the water, absorbing the chemicals needed by the symbiotic bacteria housed within the worm's body. The plumes sway gently in the currents created by the shimmering, heated water. Crawling over the tube worms and the chimneys are swarms of pale, blind crabs. They have no need for eyes in this dark world. They navigate by touch and chemical cues, scavenging on microbes and any small animals they can find. There are also vent shrimp, which can congregate in such dense masses that they completely cover the surfaces of the vent structures. These shrimp have a light-sensing organ on their backs, but it doesn't see images. Instead, it is thought to detect the faint, deep red glow emitted by the superheated water of the vents, which is invisible to the human eye. This may help them navigate and avoid being cooked by the hottest parts of the vent flow. Nestled among the tube worms are dense beds of large vent mussels and clams. Like the tube worms, these bivalves rely on chemosynthetic bacteria, which they house in their gills. They filter the water, providing their internal bacterial partners with the necessary chemicals, and in return, they receive all the nutrition they need. Swimming in the water around this oasis of life are unique species of fish, like the eelpout or zorset fish. They are often pale or white and are predators, feeding on the abundant crabs, shrimp, and other small invertebrates. A hydrothermal vent community is an island of life in the vastness of the abyssal plain. Its existence is entirely independent of the sun. It is powered by the geothermal energy of the Earth itself. But it is also an ephemeral world. A vent field may be active for only a few decades or centuries before the geological plumbing shifts and the flow of hot water ceases. When that happens, the chemical energy source is cut off, and the entire vibrant community perishes. The tube worms die, the crabs and shrimp disappear, and the chimneys become silent, dark monuments. Meanwhile, somewhere else along the ridge, a new vent may be born and the cycle of life begins again. The larvae of vent creatures drifting in the deep ocean currents must find these new, active sites to colonize. The contrast between the silent, sparse life of the abyssal plain and the dense, bustling communities around hydrothermal vents highlights the incredible diversity of strategies life has evolved to survive in the deep. Whether by patiently sifting through ancient marine snow or by harnessing the raw chemical power of the planet's interior, life in the deep ocean persists in the most remarkable of ways. Section 8. Reproduction in the void, finding a mate in the vastness. In the immense, dark, and sparsely populated environment of the deep sea, the fundamental biological imperative to reproduce presents a profound challenge. Finding a compatible partner in the three-dimensional void is an endeavor of incredible difficulty. The solutions that deep-sea creatures have evolved to overcome this obstacle are among the most fascinating and bizarre in the entire animal kingdom. They are strategies born of isolation and necessity. Perhaps the most famous and extreme of these strategies is sexual parasitism, perfected by certain species of anglerfish that live in the bathyal and abyssal zones. For these fish, the size difference between the sexes is dramatic. The female is large, sometimes thousands of times larger than the male. She is the predator, equipped with the glowing lure and the massive mouth. The male, by contrast, is a tiny, stripped-down creature. He has one purpose in life: to find a female. He is not built for long-term survival on his own. He often has a poorly developed digestive system, but an exceptionally large olfactory organ. From the moment he is born, the male anglerfish is on a desperate search. He swims through the utter blackness, using his oversized nostrils to sniff for the faintest trace of a species-specific pheromone released by a female. It is a monumental task, akin to finding a single specific person in a dark, empty world the size of a continent. If, against all odds, he succeeds and finds a female, he does not court her. He bites her. He latches onto her body, usually on her belly or flank, and holds on. Then a remarkable physiological transformation begins. His body begins to fuse with hers. His skin and blood vessels merge with her skin and blood vessels. He becomes physically and permanently attached. His own circulatory system taps into hers, and he begins to receive all of his nutrients directly from her blood, like a fetus in the womb. His now redundant organs, his eyes, his fins, his digestive system, atrophy and wither away. He degenerates until he is little more than a pair of gonads, a small appendage on the female's body that produces sperm. He has become a permanent parasitic mate. A single female may have multiple males attached to her. When she is ready to spawn, she releases her eggs, and the attached male, or males, releases sperm to fertilize them, ensuring that her reproductive efforts are never in vain. It is an incredible solution to the problem of finding a mate. Once you find one, you never let go. A less extreme but more common strategy for dealing with sparse populations is hermaphroditism. Many deep-sea fish and invertebrates are simultaneous hermaphrodites, meaning they possess both male and female reproductive organs at the same time. This doubles the chances of successful reproduction. Any encounter with another member of the same species, regardless of its sex, can result in mating. For some species, they may take turns acting as the male and female, while for others, they may fertilize each other simultaneously. This strategy is particularly common in species that are solitary and have a low probability of encountering another of their kind. Another strategy is to simply release eggs and sperm into the water column, a method known as broadcast spawning. This is common among many invertebrates on the seafloor, like sea anemones, corals, and some clams. The success of this strategy relies on timing. The release of gametes must be synchronized so that the eggs and sperm are in the same place at the same time. This is often achieved through environmental or chemical cues, ensuring that entire populations spawn in unison, creating a dense cloud of gametes that maximizes the chances of fertilization. The nature of the offspring themselves is also adapted to the deep-sea environment. In the food-scarce abyss, providing the next generation with the best possible start is crucial. Many deep-sea species produce a small number of very large, yolk-rich eggs. This large yolk sac provides the developing larva with a substantial food reserve, allowing it to grow to a more advanced stage before it needs to find its own food. This is in contrast to many shallow water species, which produce thousands of tiny eggs with minimal yolk, relying on the abundance of phytoplankton for the larvae to feed on. In the deep sea, there is no such planktonic soup, so the mother must invest heavily in each individual egg. The reproductive cycles themselves are often incredibly slow, in keeping with the slow metabolism and long lifespans of the animals. Deep-sea sharks, like the Greenland shark, may take over a century to reach sexual maturity. Deep-sea corals and sponges grow at an almost imperceptible rate, and their reproductive events may be infrequent and separated by many years. The entire pace of procreation is slowed down, mirroring the slow pace of life itself. The larvae of deep-sea creatures face their own immense journey. For species living at isolated habitats like hydrothermal vents or whale falls, their larvae must drift on the deep ocean currents, sometimes for years, in the hope of finding another suitable habitat to settle on. It is a lottery of survival played out on a vast, dark, and three-dimensional game board. From the permanent embrace of the parasitic anglerfish to the synchronized spawning of creatures on the abyssal plain, reproduction in the deep sea is a testament to the evolutionary drive to persist. It is a collection of quiet, ingenious, and sometimes startling solutions to the profound loneliness of the abyss, ensuring that even in the vastest and darkest of spaces, the slow, silent dance of life continues from one generation to the next. Conclusion: the quiet persistence of life. Our slow descent into the deep ocean is now drawing to a close. We have drifted through a world of immense pressure, a realm of perpetual night illuminated by the cold, living light of its inhabitants. We have felt the profound, stable cold that dictates a slow, patient rhythm of life, and we have witnessed the ingenious ways that life finds sustenance in a world of scarcity. We have learned that the crushing silence is not a sign of emptiness, but of equilibrium. The creatures here do not fight the pressure. They are one with it, their soft bodies and unique biochemistry a testament to yielding rather than resisting. In the unending darkness, we discovered a language of light, bioluminescence, used to lure, to hide, to warn, and to beckon, a silent, flickering conversation in the abyss. We have encountered a pace of existence far removed from our own, a world where metabolisms are dialed down to a quiet hum, where life unfolds over centuries and where patience is the ultimate virtue. We have seen how the faint, constant drizzle of marine snow from the world above sustains a vast and sparse community, and how, in special places, the very energy of the earth itself can fuel vibrant oases of life, entirely independent of the sun. We have explored a sensory world reimagined, where the feel of a water current, the trace of a chemical scent, or the faint bioelectric field of a hidden creature replaces the primacy of sight. And we have marveled at the solutions to the profound challenge of finding a partner in the vastness, from the permanent parasitic embrace of the anglerfish to the synchronous blooming of life on the seafloor. The deep ocean is the Earth's last great wilderness. It is a repository of mysteries, a place where each new exploration reveals creatures and processes more wonderful than we could have imagined. What we have touched upon tonight is just a small fraction of what there is to know. The vast majority of this deep realm remains unseen, its inhabitants unknown, its processes unstudied. It is a quiet reminder of how much of our own planet is still a foreign world. The life that persists here does so with a quiet, powerful grace. It is a life of efficiency, of endurance, and of extraordinary adaptation. It is a gentle, slow-moving world, but it is also resilient, having thrived in this stable, extreme environment for eons. It does not shout for our attention, it simply is. It persists in the dark, in the cold, under a weight we can barely comprehend. As we now begin our gentle ascent, returning to the more familiar world of light and warmth, perhaps we can carry with us a sense of this deep quiet, a sense of the slow, patient, and persistent nature of life in the most hidden corners of our world, a sense of wonder at the beauty that thrives in perpetual night. Thank you for joining us at Nighttime Science. If you enjoy these quiet explorations, please consider liking this video or subscribing to the channel for more. We hope you have found this journey relaxing and that the quiet facts of the deep ocean have helped soothe your mind. May your rest be as deep and as peaceful as the abyss itself. Good night.